Welcome to the Better Life Podcast. I'm April. So glad to have you here today. If it's your first time, welcome. I would love for you to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you'll be getting a few episodes every single week. Today, let's talk about being a cycle breaker. I love that term, cycle breaker. I want to talk to you about, just not repeating unhealthy, toxic, potentially devastating cycles in your life. How many times have we said we'll never act that way, we'll never do the things that were done to us, or maybe we'll never repeat past patterns that have been passed down to us, and we find ourselves in this position where we're doing it. We're stuck in this cycle, and we wonder, how did we ever get in this cycle? But the more important thing is, how do we get out? One of my favorite quotes says this: you are one decision away from a totally different life. Now, that almost seems too good to be true, but guess what? It is true. Let me give you an example. My dad, who's now in heaven, grew up extremely poor. He was one of 6 kids, grew up during the Great Depression. I remember him telling me what it was like to grow up poor. He remembers what it was like to have holes in your shoes and your pants and to barely have anything to eat. He remembers being the one that stood in line for food. When he was a young adult, before he ever was married, before he ever had a family, after reflecting and remembering the awful feeling of that poverty and just never having enough, you know what he did? He made the decision that he and his future family would never experience the poverty that he went through as a child. He broke that bondage or that curse of poverty over his life, and you know what he said? No more. I'm a cycle breaker. He didn't even realize it. It stops with me. It will not affect my children or future generations. Again, he wasn't married. He didn't have kids. What he had was just that spiritual fortitude to say, I have had enough. This can't be from God. This isn't an abundant life. I'm breaking the cycle. Now, remember, I said one decision away from a totally different life. I love that Daddy knew that change began with him. I'm so glad he knew that he could either keep living a life of poverty or he could stop it with one decision. And he decided that cycle of poverty ran in the family until it ran into him. He made the decision, one decision, to stop it. One decision changed the course of his life and of his family and of future generations. One shift in his way of thinking back in the 1940s changed everything. I'm so grateful Daddy made that choice. I'm grateful that he decided that poverty would end with him. He broke the cycle. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, just because you break the cycle, just because you make a decision, does that automatically mean you're going to get wealthy, you're going to get well, whatever? No, that's not what it means, but it starts with a decision. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. Once he made that decision, he stopped living with a mindset of lack. Now, that wasn't overnight, but making this decision changed everything in his life. And he knew to have an abundant life, he couldn't have poverty thinking. The scripture says in Deuteronomy, I've set before you life and death, blessing and curses. Now choose life so that you and your family may live. I love how God gives us the answer. Choose life, not just for you, but also for your children. Do you know the decisions you make affect and impact your bloodline? And you have the power right now to change your present situation. You have the power to change your future. When my dad made that decision that poverty was no more going to be in his family, he changed the present moment. But what else did it do? It changed his destiny. It changed his future for himself and for his children and grandchildren. Only you can change your life. No one else can do it for you other than God. It's your choice how you're going to spend the rest of your life. Do you realize how powerful that is? Do you realize that the power that you hold over your life? You can decide today to shift the course of your life for the better. You know what shift means? It means to move or cause to move from one place to another. And that's really deep, y'all. It means a slight change in position, direction, or tendency. See, now I love that word shift because it's a reminder that one slight change in thinking or behavior or pattern can completely change the course of our lives. Maybe today's the day we make the decision that we're not going to let our past dictate our future. We're not going to repeat past behaviors or patterns that aren't conducive to us living a joyous, happy life. We can either repeat patterns and wish things were different, or we can become proactive and begin to move in the direction of changing our lives for the better. Because if we keep doing the same things, we're going to keep getting the same results. We're going to keep repeating the cycles. We're going to wish we could get out of it, but we're going to keep repeating it because we haven't made the decision to be a cycle breaker. We cannot wish ourselves out of a situation. If you don't like your story, change it. Don't wish it was different. Decide today that it's going to be different. Make a shift in your mind. Instead of saying it will always be this way, start saying, no, it's going to change for the better. Take on that mentality that it ran in the family until it ran into me. Shift your way of thinking and acting and doing every single day. Let me give you an example. You can break the curse of maybe being overweight. Let's just use that. I have someone that I'm working with right now. I'm coaching. And the cycle of being overweight and obesity, that's a real thing. And it has run in this person's family. So this person has to get that mindset shift, and she's doing it. She got the mindset shift that, you know what, I'm not going to be unhealthy. I'm not going to die of obesity. I'm going to do something today. I'm making the decision. I am a cycle breaker. And y'all, she is doing it, and I'm so proud of her. Let me use another example. Maybe you didn't grow up receiving affection in your family. Maybe nobody said that I love you. And in turn, you are repeating the pattern. You didn't like it when you were a kid, and you find yourself not saying I love you, not showing affection, and you don't like it, but you don't know how to get out of it. You know how you do it? One decision at a time. Today's the day you say, nope, I'm a cycle breaker. I'm changing the pattern. It ran in the family until it ran into me. Make a shift in your patterns. How do you do that? Go give a hug. Go say, I love you. Even if it's uncomfortable, take a step in the right direction. Be better than what's holding you back. Oh, that's good, y'all. Be better than what broke you. Be better than the patterns that have been passed down to you. Y'all, I really like this episode. It's so good. Let me tell you this. This is interesting. This is something that I read. In a healthy family, children learn how to successfully create good behavioral patterns. They learn how to handle negative emotions, solve conflicts, give and receive love, take care of themselves, have self-esteem, and a whole host of other important capacities. They learn how to thrive. But when wrong patterns, toxic patterns are taught, children learn how to survive. Y'all, we've got to break the cycle, not just for us, but for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. Well, how do we do that? We make the decision, I am a cycle breaker. It's not going to continue anymore in my family. Become the best version of you. Don't keep going around the same mountain over and over again. Become the best father, the best son, the best daughter. You know, a friend of mine, a long time ago, when he and his wife were married and had their first kid, he realized that he didn't come from a healthy family. His dad was very abusive. His mom was not affectionate. Here he has this child, and he thought, I don't know how to be a good dad. And he looked around, and he realized that his best friend was not only a great dad, but he was a great husband. So what my friend decided to do was to learn from his best friend. He didn't mention it. He didn't say, hey, I'm going to watch you. You know what he did? He watched, he learned, and he watched, and he learned. He watched how he was a great father. He watched how he told his kids he loved them every day and how he hugged on them. He watched him be a great husband to his wife. And you know what? By watching and learning, my friend learned how to become a great father and a great husband, and he decided to be a cycle breaker. I'm not going to repeat the past if the past isn't worth repeating. He's an amazing dad, and he's an amazing husband. It doesn't matter what's been passed down to you. You can break the cycle. Choose to let the negativity, the bad breaks, the brokenness, the offense, the hatred to stop today. Be the cycle breaker. How do you do that? Well, choose compassion. Choose unconditional love. Choose empathy, forgiveness. Choose mercy and grace. Be the person you needed when you were going through the stuff of life. Again, don't repeat the past if the past isn't worth repeating. Shift the course of your life for you and your family. Remember, you're not only breaking the cycle for yourself, but for generations to come. I hope you've enjoyed it today, and until this time next week, have an amazing day.